Tuesday, October 8th, 9:45 a.m. Today is the day to evacuate. Today is the day to get out of here. If you are still in zone A, B, or C, get out now or look to your local county's emergency order and evacuation order. I would just like to say here and now that everybody needs to stay calm. There's no sense in panicking. There's no sense in freaking out. The storm is still close to 48 hours away from making landfall. I advise everyone, just like you're already being advised, to evacuate today. Do not be on the barrier islands by the end of the day today. Hurricane Milton is now the second strongest hurricane ever to enter the Gulf of Mexico. It's also the strongest hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico since 1979. We need to talk about it. We have some updates. We have some track changes. We have some stuff that we have to go over. Yesterday, it was at 180 mile an hour maximum sustained wind. Today, 145 mile an hour maximum sustained wind. It had a brush with the land. It's going through an eye wall replacement process right now. As you can see, the eye wall is more or less defined until it's not. An eye wall replacement for a storm like this moving into the open Gulf means that this thing is about to get much larger. When hurricanes go through eye wall replacement, while moving over very, very favorable conditions for re-intensification, we can assume that this thing is going to grow in size and that the wind field is going to get larger. Now, the problem with the weakening and the place that it's going, if you look right here at where it is now, it's about to move over this very, very, very warm loop current, where it is expected to re-strengthen and potentially reclaim its place as a Category 5 hurricane, which is exactly what we don't want. Swells from this storm are going to be unlike anything the Gulf Coast of Florida has ever seen. It's already making bigger waves in the Gulf than I've ever seen in my life. Rainfall map is getting deeper, as I said it would. 12, 16, 20 inches parts of Pinellas County. 20 to 30 inches of rain out in the Gulf. This map's going to continue to deepen as the storm gets closer and as we gather more information. Surge map has not changed since yesterday, which is not good. Even though we had a small tick south, we're still showing 10 to 15 feet of storm surge, all the way from Inglewood all the way up to Antelope River. The entire Tampa Bay area is under a 10 to 15 feet of peak storm surge forecast warning. This is the wind history. Hurricane force winds is red. Tropical storm force winds is orange. It's making quite a turn for the north now. How far north will it go? How soon is a very big question. It's wobbling a bit. It's got a little dance going on. I'll try to show you here. If you see this, look at this. Boop, boop. That's a little swirl. Hurricanes like to do this thing where they kind of do that when it comes to the eye wall. The tracks are just where they generally think it's going to go. If you go to the National Hurricane Center, it doesn't always show this wobble as intensely as I'm covering, but here we go. 100%, 90 to 100% chance of tropical storm force winds all across the Tampa Bay area, Bradenton, Sarasota. Key messages: damaging hurricane force winds, life-threatening storm surge with destructive waves are expected across portions of the northern Yucatan Peninsula. They're mostly talking about the Yucatan because that's the most imminent. They're in the most danger right now. Milton's expected to grow in size and remain an extremely dangerous hurricane when it approaches the west coast of Florida on Wednesday. A large area of destructive storm surge will occur along parts of the west coast of Florida. This is an extremely life-threatening situation, and residents in those areas should follow advice given by local officials and evacuate immediately if told to do so. Devastating hurricane force winds are expected along portions of the west coast of Florida, where a hurricane warning is in effect. Milton is forecast to remain a hurricane as it crosses the Florida Peninsula, and life-threatening hurricane force winds, especially in gusts, are expected to spread inland across the peninsula. Preparations to protect life and property in the warning areas should be complete by tonight. Yes, I have to agree with that 100%. You need to be done by tonight. This is the 4 a.m. advisory, by the way, or 4 a.m. key messages. Most important thing is just watching the track. As this thing begins its approach to Florida, whether it goes north or south of Tampa Bay is going to paint quite a scary picture for one area or the other. Areas of heavy rainfall will continue to impact portions of Florida well ahead of Milton through early Thursday. This rainfall brings the risk of life-threatening flash urban and aerial flooding along the moderate to major river flooding. Woo! She's a big biatch. All right, greatest flood risk over the next 3 days. There we go. At least 70% or higher for Tampa Bay and north of Tampa Bay. That's not really what we want to see. Let's dive into the tropical tidbit tracks. 48 hours, we have landfall just south of Tampa Bay, according to these tracks on tropical tidbits. Intensity guides show it dropping out. It's actually not predicting it to become a Category 5 again. I think if it does, it's going to happen right here. As you guys can see, this thing is a beast and it is on its way. It's very important that we are all ready for this thing when it gets here. Oh, with how big the waves are going to be from this storm. Now, here we go. Let's go to waves on windy. All right, look. 20 to 30 feet when it starts turning white. Massive swell coming for the Gulf Coast of Florida. Biggest swell we've ever seen. Let's go back to the wind. This is the Euro. The Euro is showing this thing slowing down too. We're looking at 4 a.m. landfall just south of Tampa Bay. Actually, this is a direct hit to Tampa Bay. All right, let's go to the GFS. GFS doesn't look good either. It was right here last night. It has moved south. We'll take that. Praying for Venice, Northport, Cape Coral, Sarasota, Bradenton. Honestly, the entire Gulf Coast is in for a very rude awakening. Just keeping my fingers crossed that this thing just keeps tracking south over the next 36 hours. I know that's not fair for people south, but as I've said a million times, in those densely populated areas in Florida, Tampa, Pinellas County, Bradenton, Lakeland, Orlando, if this thing goes straight across, straight into Orlando, bringing hurricane force winds statewide, we'll never see anything like it. Surely the 100-year storm. Billion-dollar storm. Hard to even imagine that this is a possibility right now. So here's the 7 a.m. update from the National Hurricane Center. Still shows that M sitting right on top of Tampa Bay, but it's a little further south. I can see a little bit of the Tampa Bay just above that M. 145 mile an hour. As I said, it's expected to strengthen. Arrival times will win. This is a big one too. Wednesday at 8 a.m. Tomorrow morning, we're going to start feeling effects from this storm. Today is the calm before the storm, surely. I can't say it enough times. Know your zone. FloridaDisaster.org. Check the Know Your Zone map. See what zone you're in. All of Pinellas County A, B, and C zones have been issued mandatory evacuation. I believe that extends down south to like Bradenton, Sarasota, Venice. If you're in zone A, B, or C, red to yellow, you do not want to stay. Just in case this thing does what Helene did and pushes storm surge to the higher end of storm surge. We've gotten 6 to 8 storm surge maps in my town, in front of my house, probably 10 times over the last 20 years, and we never got more than 3 feet. This time, with Helene, for some reason, they predicted nearly the same surge that we've gotten in the past, and it was much, much higher. Obviously, the storm passed north of us. A lot of the other storms that predicted us to have this serious surge were supposed to go north of us and ended up going south, which is why the storm surge didn't play out the way that they anticipated or the way that they predicted in the first place. Very important to know. Hurricanes can change their paths. If this thing, let's go to windy for a better view. If this thing ticks a little bit further south, we will see reverse surge in parts that were supposed to get 8 to 10 feet. So that's something very important to know. I'm not saying anyone should stay. This is not going to be reverse surge for anywhere up here. This is going to be still very serious surge for anywhere north of Pinellas County. Even Spring Hill will probably see some surge from this. Because the swell is going to be so big that it is going to push a whole lot of water in a whole lot of places that don't want it. And we can expect that. It's still slowing down a lot, though. It is. We were expecting, a couple days ago, we were expecting like 6 p.m. landfall. Now it's looking like 3 a.m. I think the Euro's even a bit slower. Euro's showing like 6 a.m. Yeah. Wild. If my internet comes back on, I'll go live. If not, probably gonna wait till 5 p.m. to do an update. I might do an 11 p.m. update as well. I'll surely be doing an update first thing in the morning. Hopefully I won't be doing it off of my laptop from inside of a car or at someone else's house. Scary time though. Very scary time. I hope everyone's ready. I hope everyone's prepared. I hope everyone has an evacuation plan. As I've said a million times, I'm not a weather expert. I'm an enthusiast. I do this because I'm a surfer. I like to catch waves, and through that passion and that hobby, I've learned a whole lot about storms, and it's led to me to be able to keep people safe by educating them and helping them make the right decision. Don't freak out. I see people driving all over the highways, going in the emergency lanes, flying past people. That's not necessary, okay? We need to stay calm. You need to keep a cool head. You have all day today to get to where you need to be for the storm tomorrow night. Be prepped. Be ready today. That's all I got for now. I'll see you guys on Instagram if you want more live updates. I'm posting on my story constantly. I'm posting just static posts on my Instagram constantly, so you can follow me there. Otherwise, I'll probably see you guys shortly after 5 p.m. for another update. Appreciate you guys being here. Hope you guys are staying safe, and I'll see you soon. Peace.